Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a video. Admittedly, I'm a little bit late to. I really made a bit of a oopsie here, where I forgot that because it's going to be in the UK, that this event would be happening good a couple hours before this video goes live. So, sorry about that, but I'm not sure if anybody is streaming this, so we can at least have this entertainment here. Now, I will say, I believe Epic Flail last streamed it. I don't know if they're going to do that again now, so I didn't want to throw them up on here and be like, "Well, look, they're doing the thing," when I have no clue. I just know that they did it before. That have no knowledge beyond that. And this is 3 a.m. my time. My videos go up at 7. So sorry about that, but let's still talk about it. So, the Sheffield 40K Super Major will be happening this weekend, and there's a lot of people. It's a super major. There are a lot of people attending this event. So, what do I think can do the do? Well, looking at Adepticon, and that first week, I want to talk about some things. So, uh, actually, we'll go this way. I think now that people let fucking time pass, more than 2 days, people have started to figure out how to not get shot off the board by orcs. Not completely, and I'm not saying that it doesn't need to be toned down at all or touched in any way. Still probably does, but it doesn't seem to be as bad at the top tables as people guessed. And who would have thunk? Because people have called it wrong the entire edition. So, I don't know. Yeah, it had the first weekend where everybody and their mother were playing it, and nobody knew what to do with sustained hits too. Uh, Rocky Mountain Open, South Coast, 123, 123. Then we come over to Adepticon over here in the US, and to which, well, the things that happened before Mordaka released still happened. You got Ultramarines, Gladius Task Force, and Devoted If You Need. Those are two things that we know are good. Then we also had a lot of colorful surprises. Uh, GSC, still good. I made a reference to thinking they can still do things. I was wrong about what detachment. I'm pretty sure I was wrong about which detachment. I think I said, did I say Outlander Claw? Probably. Either way, I was wrong about that. Then we had Scintillating Legion, Road Eaters, and Orc in top 8. Two more Chaos Demons, extending it, not a lot of greenskins in the places that people really, really wanted to make it seem. But that's not to say that it won't still have power and be good. Not trying to say that at all. I just think combining these factors, we can take a guess at some sleeper picks for the UK. Mainly looking at this one specifically, but if you haven't seen me do one of those, and I'm not saying that you probably have, but what I like to do over here is think about the picks that probably nobody's taking, but I like this aspect. No disrespect to these two, but I like this aspect where you go, holy, I didn't expect GSC, Scintillating Legion, and World Eaters to do anything. Where'd that come from? I like to take stabs at that, and if it wins the entire thing, even better. So, with that, I have some picks. I picked two from each of the super factions this time around because it's just this one. Um, I should have looked to next weekend to see if there's any other big things, but taking things one week at a time right now because life is crazy. So, let's get into some of the things I think can do it. As for Militarum is a bit of a weird one. Well, they're all a bit of a weird one, but I struggle with this because I think um Asper Militarum as a faction has several good plays into what's going on right now. I think Hammer of the Emperor is looking really good. I shouldn't say like really, really good, but I think it's looking good enough. But past that, I think there's a slight chance that with more list development for Siege Regiment, people could do the do with Guard in this manner. Creeping barrage slowing down something like Eldari incendiary bombardment, making your shootout with Ultramarines a little bit easier. Uh, Maybe Orcs too. Actually, that yeah, for a turn or two, making it so that they are definitely saving on a 5 or a 6 or no save at all. Yeah, that'll get better. And then when they are pushing towards you, stealth with smoke cells for the units that you have exposed. Now, that's just looking at the detachment rule itself. There are some interesting things with the enhancements, and these focus on platoon. And here comes the next part of what I think you need right now to handle some of these things. You need bodies, and Guard has cheap bodies, and platoon are the cheap bodies of the already cheap bodies. So, I think there's a world into which uh you just take Siege Regiment and do surprisingly well. I don't think I would spend more time on that because yeah, that's where we go. Next we go over to Sisters, which is you need to do something when you get shot. The first implementation of this, spoiler, Army of Faith. I'm not gonna. I don't like repeating the thing too much. Like, hey, knock, knock. But Army of Faith, ooh wee. Uh, it was good when Bringers was good. Now you have your dice back, and it's still gonna be good, especially when you can give auras of -1 to hit, give yourself +1 AP, or Lance. Uppy Downy for scoring some points. Uh, Ignores modifiers if there's a mortal wound situation to be had. I think you can build your list with Army of Faith and have some fun. We've seen immolators do good for other people. Let's give them back to the people that brought the immolators in the first place. So whether it be immolators burning down hordes of orcs with bonus AP, whether that be indirect fire, and then wondering what the incarn is going to try to hit. Um, I think there's a time now. I don't think you go with the triple immolator castigator exorcist build, but I think there's worlds where you can start to have fun, and maybe what sisters were doing for a bit there, bringing armigers can still help. Maybe that's the case. And going back to some of those that bit there where the Imperial Knights were doing pretty hot. I think they've cooled off. Not to a terrible extent. I don't think it's like, oh no, there they go. They had their month. Bye bye Imperial Knights. No, more so that I don't think we should be looking to Imperial Knights to come out of the woodworks given what's happening. If there's a lot of bodies and you can't remove Imperial Knights, you can still out primary them most of the time, right? If it's asking you to be in places, of course that, but if it's a killing primary, maybe not. Um, and some of the secondary thing. Either way, back to sisters part. Maybe adding some armatures into your list can help, especially with the things this whole system do that. Now, one that's missing from this list that I made a dedicated video to is AdMech, and because I made a dedicated video, I didn't include it in this video. That's just why here. I did two of each. Didn't need to go more down that rabbit hole. But if you want to see that, I made that video, and I know it's probably crazy. I got it. I understand why it would be an insane take, but I think I'm gonna stick to it for a bit. I think so. Going on to Chaos, World Eaters, and Vessels of Wrath. Why on earth would I think Vessels of Wrath can do it? Because here we go into part two of you need to do something if you're getting shot. So besides just having Corn Berserkers that can do that with Meat Force with Force, um, you can do it again with other things, and that needs to happen, as well as having some choice of defensive or offense with what you need for choosing your blessings of corn kind of situation. Will a feel no pain, bail you out of this situation when you're going toe to toe with shooting platforms? Maybe. Maybe it will. Maybe that feel no pain and then charge their face will help. Maybe you already can get into there, and since you're not shooting, you turn off devoted if you need for most of it, and then you advance and charge in their face. But it doesn't stop there. Scarbrand is better. And Bloodthirster, kind of better indirectly. More so, the fact that Scarbrand's better, so you finally might see some of those Corn Demon allies come out to play with Vessels of Wrath, who weren't gonna benefit from either of the detachments, but I'm just saying, allies wise, the Chaos Demons are looking a little bit scary. If you weren't shooting, you're going to punch devoted if you need, and if you get shot, you get to do something and withstand it almost every time. So, uh, yeah, I'm looking at Vessels of Wrath to come out of nowhere and do the thing. I guess that's not as wacky when we saw World Eaters, right? What was this? This was Berserker Warband, if I remember. Yeah, this was Berserker Warband. Oh yeah, I laughed because don't scream me or my sons ever again. And to that point, apparently, Demon Prince with Wings has played. So, ah, maybe. I know. Vessels of Wrath is not what World Eater players are liking right now, or maybe that opinion has changed. But come on, there's something. It's got to be here, right? It's got to be here right now. Of course, of all times, it's got to be here. Going on to the other chaos, Death Guard, Flyblown Host. Now, this isn't strictly because they have Scout and Stealth, and we're talking about shooting right now. Not strictly that. I think it's also because going to the Demon Ally thing, uh, Great Unclean One's better. That's one. Two, and you're like, but we're talking about Flyblown Host. Yeah, we're getting to that in a second. Uh, two, Soul Grinders they've been winning. So when I'm going to say instead of those War Dogs, look at taking the Soul Grinders. If you do it with Nurgle, they get indirect fire. If you take Nurglings, you get something to go out there, and then you can scout and stealth. And then on top of that, right, Mortarion has Deep Strike now. Like, they fixed that. And this is a Mortarion profile eating fest now. You're not looking at a lot of heavies that Morty can't deal with. You're not looking at a lot of heavies that your Plague Burst Crawler, your mortars and things need to try to figure out how to deal with. We're looking at bodies on the ground. So yes, if you indirect fire something to death, and then devoted if you need goes somewhere into you, uh, yeah, that's a little bit interesting. But why fly blown host? Why fly blown host? Well, because if you can jam people up and then beat them, well, you can do this, and this gives you the speed that I think you need. Now, the list itself, who really knows? I think we might be looking at Poxwalker spam have a good day. Truly, I think there's a chance that you do one of those funky things where you're playing a detachment to buff maybe 4 of your 10 units and then have a better time. We might be looking at Flyblown Host, Poxwalker spam, maybe a unit of or two of Death Shroud Terminators, and then bring in some allies. And then you have to throw your opponent off with, hey, if you try to get rid of them, it's going to be tougher for you. If you try to get rid of them, good luck. That's what I'm thinking, Death Guard wise. I understand that Blade Company is still like good. They're good enough. So I don't want to necessarily say that I think that this can't do it or anything. But I don't know how much you can rely on getting the aura situation popping right now. I think if you're going to build a list, you try to get the detachment rule that will benefit you no matter if people are standing next to you or not. That's really the breaking thing as to why I think a fly-blown host list coming off the top rope might have a good chance to be top 8. Eh, fuck it, we'll make it fun. Top 8 of Sheffield. Now, I was going to say I don't know if there's like UK based Death Guard players, but I know that answer. So I don't know. Fly blown host. That I'm sticking with it. Next, coming over to army that went kind of quiet. Everybody was tired of seeing them because turns out 500 people playing Star Shatter and not getting 500 tournament wins means that it was just okay. But I'm gonna continue doing that one because this is my second army. Necrons. That's my second army currently. Maybe that will change. Who knows? But yeah, been my second army. Either way, Awakened Dynasty has funny things. Guess what? You can still bring a Catan and do things. Like you can still just kind of what I'm talking about over here with Death Guard. You can have the base list be tiny people, tiny leader units, and then still bring a fucking problem in the back. Like you can still bring a Catan. I don't think this is a terrible time to do it. Now, tank busters do get a little bit interesting, and Oath does get interesting. Yeah, but if somebody tries to do some Yanari situation next to your Catan, I don't know how that plays out for them. Now, I'm just saying, maybe we need to look at that, or maybe you say screw that, and you still bring something funky like a monolith. I don't think you take a monolith, but I think it's there. Going to the main thing of Awakened Dynasty though, you have things. You have a unit that can become stealth, that's good enhancement, plus one to hit character leading a unit, fine. But guess what? People don't like stealth in their face with a wah. You can do that to them. It works for some people. It can work for you. Rerolls on it. Not as good as sustained hits too, but you have enough sustained and lethals on your weapons, and then giving them rerolls and assault. You can do these things over here. And if you get shot, remember where I said you gotta do something if you get shot at, whether that be charging into their face or gaining a miracle die. I forgot to expand on that part over here for the sisters. You gain a miracle die if you die. Over here, if you get shot, you can reanimate. So I'm just saying, and Protocol of the Vengeful Stars. That's the other one. Uh, if you get shot at, you can shoot back at them. So how about we all have fun in doing the shooting thing? I think Awakened Dynasty Necrons, if there's a pilot, and I did see a Necron pilot we've seen several times before, um, it at Sheffield. So see how that goes. No pressure. And so that's why I won't say the name. But hey. And I actually didn't see if they're playing Awakened Dynasty. I just saw that they're playing Necrons and left it there. Because, pull back the curtain for a bit, this is not the first take. I kept flubbing that up. But yes, Awakened Dynasty Necrons, I think, has a chance now. Is this the Necron list that I'm looking at right now? No. Well, also, I've said it a couple of times here. I'm currently not uh, able to play in this moment. But neither here nor there. Awakened Dynasty Necrons. That's my funky pick for that. And the last is Crude Hunting Pack. In all honesty, it was auxiliary Cadre, but I see that Tau players still can't figure out how to make both of them work together in the way that it's needed to, like ratio wise. And that's not to say that I have faith in none of the Tau players, but I think so many of the Tau players were so dead set on I don't like crude and Vespage that you might never get it for the rest of the edition, unfortunately. And the ones that do at least like the auxiliaries, well, you can just keep playing Crude Hunting Pack right now, especially because you get a 5 up versus range, the 6 up versus melee, plus 1 to hit if you're below starting, plus 1 to wound if you are below half, and you get the bodies to do all the things as well as some pretty decent stratagems. Now, you can only replace one unit once per game for 2 CP, but I think the Crude that you can take and do things with yeah, some of the things you can do, pretty decent right now. So, the name of the game, from what I'm seeing, is bodies and surviving the other bodies. Kind of, it's bodies. It's bodies, it's bodies, and good things for answers. Maybe if you have a skew or two, it'll be nice. Like, for example, maybe we see a Kroot hunting pack list that brings the fucking tiger shark back because the Kroot are cheap enough. Maybe you have enough room in your list and go, whoa, how do we do this? That's what I'm looking at from these. I'm looking at, hey, you can bring bodies and then bring a fucking tank or two. You can bring bodies, get something when they go, and bring a tank or two. That doesn't count for this one as much, but Scarbrand, Ankron. Uh, Mortarion, Great Unclean One, Soul Grinders. Catan, bunch of little fucks. And bunch of little fucks. Probably not Tiger Shark time. I think they've successfully gotten rid of that, but I don't know, maybe you do put a Skyray gunship or two into the list. Maybe. I don't know. But Kroot Hunting Pack, the people that have played it figured it out, kind of, more or less. So I'm thinking there's a time to shine. Now, I'm pretty sure that the Tau player that kind of likes Kroot at this event that we know isn't playing Kroot Hunting Pack. I'm pretty sure I saw not that they aren't, so who knows if there's a champion for this to be at this event. But I'm kind of shooting from the hip at. Well, I'm definitely shooting from the hip because I didn't even see if anybody brought some of these. That's the other caveat I didn't say earlier. Sorry if we got this far. These are just guesses, not necessarily thinking that people are bringing this to Sheffield per se, but if there was a pilot for this at Sheffield and maybe tournaments coming up, this is what I think could do it right now. So sorry, I am putting that at the end. I'm probably not editing that towards the beginning because this is more of a I do conversational video, so it's whatever. But hey, that's where we are. This is the video. What do you think has a chance at Sheffield? Have we already seen any of this by the time this video is uploaded? I doubt the event has ended within 4 hours. That'd be impossible. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe everybody just agrees to rapid fire everything and just call it a day. But yeah, Sheffield is coming up this weekend. I am very fascinated now that we have more time to see. Yeah, you can beat orcs, and the things that worked before still work in like several facets, and funky things work. So UK, let's see what you have across the pond. Besides, and hopefully nobody's getting tariffed for it. Fucking A. So yeah, if you like the video, like it, gotta comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.